let's discover some of the history within Sunderland city centre. I'm from the north side of Sunderland, so let's walk over the Wearmouth Bridge, an iconic bridge that has been built upon 3 times over its history. The current bridge began construction in 1927, building around the old Victorian bridge to allow the road to remain open. A feat of engineering, the bridge was built by the same people that built the steel structure for London's Tower Bridge, Sir William Arrol and Co. Did you know that the Duke of York, later King George VI, is said to have hammered a silver rivet into the bridge to celebrate the opening in 1929? The rivet is said to be hidden behind one of the max height signs. Have you seen it? Did you know that the first ever Wearmouth Bridge helped the people of Sunderland win an 1800s lottery draw? The first bridge was opened in 1796. However, there was a problem. One of the partners had advanced £30,000 on the bridge, but when the bank failed to pay up, a solution needed to be found quickly to avoid losses. An Act of Parliament was obtained in order to allow the bridge commissioners to sell shares to the public in a lottery. The £30,000 was split into 150 prizes, with the highest being £5,000. A draw was held to find the lucky 6,000 ticket holders that would cover the cost. It was quite the canny deal really, as each prize winner was given 5% payment from the bridge tolls between 1846 and 1885. To the right of the Wearmouth Bridge runs the Monkwearmouth Bridge. It was designed by Thomas Elliot. Built in 1879, this iron bowstring bridge linked the Durham and Sunderland Railway with the Brandon Junction Railway at Monkwearmouth. It provided the first direct rail link between the new Sunderland town centre and Newcastle. At the time of construction, this bridge was claimed to be the largest hogback iron girder bridge in the world. This bridge is also host to theatrics. American sailor Michael Smith jumped off the Wearmouth Bridge in 1842 in an effort to make his fortune. He amazingly survived the drop and swam to the riverbank. The crowd watched and gave him some money as a reward for his stunt. However, Michael's luck didn't last long as he was arrested by the police for begging. Did you know that there's a historic gem down these forgotten stairs on Wearmouth Bridge? I created a TikTok video on my account Northeast Nostalgic on it last year and it went viral with over 400,000 views. I've popped it in here in this video so you have some history to ponder over as you walk over the bridge to the match. Did you know that there's 1920s abandoned toilets in Sunderland? Head along the left side of the Wearmouth Bridge and down the stairs to find the Art Deco public toilets from 1929. Geometric tiles and men's urinals give a glimpse into the past. As we come to the other side of the bridge, we can see this blue plaque. It marks where Scottish soldiers camped and occupied Sunderland during the Civil War from 1644 till 1647. It's hard to imagine that this modern industrial landscape was once the centre of a bitter war. Have you ever seen these strange brick towers near the back of St Mary's Church and wondered what they were? In the 1870s, Sunderland was being taken over by Victorian railway fever, with new lines needing to be extended to the new town centre. Cut and cover tunnelling was underway in this small back street, which was the perfect place for the trains to navigate underground. The trains would be able to go from the new railway station to the Monkwearmouth station on the other side of the river and beyond. To let out all the steam that the trains were expelling underground, ventilation shafts needed to be installed, and they still stand here today. We pass through Pan Lane to get to the city centre, with its cobbles and Victorian buildings. A secret historic gem can be found here where the building work is today. An old Victorian pub facade from the Three Crowns could be seen on the side of the building from our old videos from 2021. Apparently the Three Crowns originated as a small coaching inn. Versions of the pub had been on the site for hundreds of years before being rebuilt to the Victorian splendour in 1899. Pan Lane's outdoor conveniences were notorious for infamous goings-on, with policemen often patrolling the area for an easy lock-up. A completely different vibe to how it looks today. At the end of Pan's Lane, we end up on High Street looking towards Mackie's Corner. Mackie's Corner is one of the most well-loved buildings in Sunderland city centre, with it being the perfect place to meet friends below the iconic dome and clock. This building was built between 1850 and 1853 as part of the Hutchinson Buildings by Ralph Hutchinson, a timber merchant and shipbuilder, housing some of Sunderland's first fashion shops. This photograph in the care of the Sunderland Antiquarian Society looks to be the oldest photograph of Mackie's Corner, a rare sight taken in the late 1860s or early 1870s, with the word Mackie's being able to be seen above the shop. Wholesale hat and cap warehouse can be seen on the windows above, showing the original Mackie shop in all its glory. But who was Mackie? One of the first tenants was Robert Mackie, a silk hat maker who had the corner shop immediately below the dome. People would flock to his windows to watch his employees make intricate bell toppers, and this started the idea of meeting at the shop before engaging in shopping with friends. Shortly after, in 1855, a public clock was suggested to be put on the dome, and was soon to become part of a Sunderland tradition. On New Year's Eve, it was tradition to run the length of Fawcett Street before the bells on the town hall clock finished its chimes. Mackie's was so ingrained in Sunderland life that the saying "you deserve a medal bigger than Mackie's clock" could be heard if you did a good deed. It's so nice to see this section of Sunderland being brought to life once more. Did you know that Mackie's Corner survived Sunderland's most terrible fire in history? A fire started in George Henry Havelock's drapery shop in 1898, led to the destruction of premises on High Street West, Fawcett Street, John Street and even Bridge Street. The buildings shown here needed to be completely rebuilt after not being able to be saved, despite 7 fire barrows, 18 water jets and 9,600 feet of hose. Opposite Mackie's Corner, we can see the Elephant Tea Rooms covered in scaffolding. It is undergoing a huge restoration to the terracotta exterior and elephants. I was able to go on a hard hat tour all the way up to the top, so definitely check out my video in the description to see more. On the other side of the road are the Walker Buildings, a smart set of Art Deco shops built in 1926. It was Walker's jewellery shop in the 1930s through to around the 80s, being a fashionable and modern place to get your engagement ring. From here we can see down High Street towards where the old High Street baths were, and also down Fawcett Street, which is where we'll be heading down today. Fawcett Street began its life as the estate of the wealthy Fawcett family, who owned land running from Sunnyside down to where the railway lines run today since the 1700s. The Fawcett family decided to develop the land to create housing for the well-to-do merchants and businessmen of the town. Construction began on the grand houses from 1814, with the majority of houses being completed by 1840. They were neoclassical in style, some with balconies and stone steps up to the doorways. The cutting of Burden Road resulted in Fawcett Street becoming the main route from the south of the town to Wearmouth Bridge. Commerce began to spread west along High Street and into Fawcett Street, with people beginning to move out of their homes and shops springing up in their place. As you can see, there are lots of different architectural styles now, as buildings have changed over time. On our left we can see what used to be the old Woolworth store, with its Art Deco facade, which opened in 1923 after purchasing the Queen's Hotel that used to be in this location. If you'd like me to do a video focusing on Sunderland shops, please let me know, as this is something I could talk forever about. Just down on the corner where an old Midland bank used to be is a blue plaque with some amazing history. Celestine Edwards is said to have been the first black newspaper editor in Britain. He resided in Sunderland briefly, frequently taking part in public speeches, advocating for equality at the Assembly Hall that stood here in the Victorian era. Further down the street on the right is where the town hall used to be. It was opened in 1890 and cost an estimated £7 million in today's money to build. Unfortunately, it was demolished in the 1970s due to it being unfit for purpose and the promise of a new hotel to be built in its place, and it's a bit of a touchy subject even today. These two beautiful buildings are Calder and Sydenham House, mostly known for being the home of Meng's restaurant. Meng's was the oldest restaurant in Sunderland, opening in 1889 and being considered the most exciting and glamorous place to dine in town. Ladies in hats and gloves would take tea with their friends, with morning coffee being very popular. I love this old piece recalling a Saturday lunch special from 1950 for only £3 bob. You could only dream of getting a 3-course lunch with coffee for that price nowadays, especially in such a grand environment. Meng's closed in 1954 after being a favourite for so many years. As we get closer to the bottom of Fawcett Street, we can see the banks on the corner. Their elaborate, imposing buildings reflected the need to impress the public with a face of solidarity and stability. The Lloyds Bank used to be the old Lambton Bank, built in 1889 till 1891 in an Italian Renaissance style. At the bottom of the street was Fawcett Street's much-loved Binns department store. Binns moved to this location in 1888, moving as close to the newly built railway station to try and guarantee more footfall. By 1921, this strategy had worked, as they had expanded to occupy the whole block and also part of the east side of the street. The slogan "Shop at Binns for everything" was adopted, making Binns the go-to place for anything you needed. A master of advertising, Binns was constantly plastered on the passing trams and in the newspapers, spreading its name all over the town. Binns even sold air raid shelters in World War II. Unfortunately, most of the Fawcett Street Binns premises were destroyed after a heavy bombing raid by the German Air Force in April 1941, but this didn't deter the wayside workforce. The business was back operating within 3 days, using a hastily arranged converted motor store in Homeside. The rebuilding of the west side of Fawcett Street began in 1949, with the store surviving today as a popular Wilko store. Did you know that an underground tunnel connected the two stores together? Built post-war, the tunnel allowed customers to travel between the stores when browsing without the need to cross the busy road. I hope you liked this little tour of some of the historic gems in Sunderland. Please like and subscribe if you did, and please let me know where we should go next.